Okay, just a reminder where I was at on this. I did have a drawing um, somewhat figured out. I mean, this is the loosest, quickest gesture of the skeleton. I mean, I barely defined anything in there. And I kind of just slapped the jaws on to the um, underneath the neck here and hadn't really done. I started to separate the body by rib cage to become more segmented, but I don't know if that's not reading quite yet. Still, it looks like a anorexic fox. I did make the legs shorter, and I did add little insectoid hooks at the end. And then the paint, literally at the end, I was super tired. I think I had maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I just slapped some color and some little white highlight strokes I'm not happy with. So anyway, complaining about my own work. But yeah, it's a quick, if you just spend an hour or two on something, cool, because now I have this and this to compare to each other. And that's really helpful. I can already see like the swoop in there. I should have had this open earlier for y'all, or for myself for that matter. But yeah, that would have been quite helpful. But I'm going to make those changes. But what I'm happier with here, if I put it at the angle I was drawing, I knew it was off. I had it back behind the jaw, and I wanted to come out more here from the side, like inside the same mouth cavity with the mouth cap with the lips in here. So I would change that, and then I gave them they were really straight, in the original drawing. So there's a lot of new information that we figure out in 3D to finish off the concept. That's why concept sculpting is so important. So let's take this character. We're going to do a materials test as well, so we can compare these, put them in the same concept, and learn some Substance Painter. Yay! Because I think Substance Material Library is super important. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assign a planar map on this character. Doesn't matter which direction, just hit OK. Object mode. I think that worked. We'll go to the UV editor. And yeah, there's a UV map on there. Okay, so just like you would make a pattern for clothing or a cosplay pattern, you're mapping out the 3D part of the model and how you can lay it out flat on a surface and then apply the texture map to it. So I'm going to go underneath here and we'll look at the basics. So first, the main key loop down the middle, so we'll double click that. That's going to go all the way down and around. And so we usually want to do with that is we want to minimize having any seam down the front part here of the map and up off the top of the head. There we go. I might have taken away too many. No, just right. Maybe bring it up here in between the ears, I think is a good spot. So we'll go right there. Oops. Yeah, and then we'll go back to the UV map and just hit Shift X on after this is active. Hit middle mouse and just kind of whoop, or Alt middle mouse, and then hit Shift X. There we go. That'll give us something to start with, and then we don't really need the nub of the back of the neck here. So now I'm kind of wishing I hadn't done the neck. Whatever. So I'll just put an edge there and there. Looks like that'll work. It's gonna take the top lid of that off, so to speak. And if I'm not sure, now's a good time also maybe to turn on your X-ray mode, depending on what you're using. So there we go. I'm going to go back in here and just hit Shift X again. And we also want to go up underneath the neck. I went and I stopped underneath the chin. I think that's okay. Quadrupeds are a little unique, so we'll see. We definitely want to go up to the side of the ear, so I'll double click that and see where it takes me. It goes all the way up to the top and then back. Oh, we got a spiral there. Oh, darn. Let's see, we'll go around the ears here, double click there, and another spiral, double click. Some of these new algorithms, the AI will be nice. They'll get rid of the spiral. Oh, yeah, it's going all over the place. Basically, you just want a nice, simple, contiguous seam to finish this off so that way, oh, Jesus, you can get an edge loop very quickly and easily. And so I'm going to get kind of not an optimized one for this, but that'll be okay. So, because this is going, let me go back to right there is what I wanted. Yeah, so maybe if I can get that, but oh well. So Shift X. Cut. Your UVs, if you're following along, you should do better. I'm just kind of doing a quick one for the demo here. Go up to the tusk as well. Tusk mandible. I'm already calling it a tusk on accident. There we go. And that hit F on the keyboard. That went all the way around. I go up here and go X-ray mode. I can see through the model. Turn that off and go back up here. Shift X, cut it. Go to face mode. Grab all the faces so far. Hit Control U. Unwrap. There we go. And I should have saved first, so it's just file save. Make sure you're saving in your project folders, people. Um, Make sure you have your auto saves on, settings preferences. I know, it's like dad here. Don't lose your work. So files and enabled number maximum 15 every 20 minutes. Cool. Works for me. So now I can see that if I turn on the checkerboard here, I can see that the main head here is pretty good. That was the first one I took some time in. So if I go to face, double click, this is the face here, and I can go to move and move that. And double clicking is going to grab all the shell, right? So there we go. There's the front of the snout. I see it's very minimal stretching. All the algorithms we have nowadays, so good. See if we got a seam down the back of the neck, that's okay. Um, if we needed to, we could cut along the front of the where the corners stick out. I think that's probably a good idea for the quadruped. We do an extra cut, but for now, this will work just fine. And I can go to the tusks, the mandibles. Dang, keep hitting the Windows key. Jeez. And we can isolate those. Shift one, I think it is. There's Alt one. No, isolate select. There we go. And then we'll turn this off for a moment, and we'll get yeah, right there. Cool. And they're stacked on top of each other, so just double click one. And this is where you have to turn symmetry on and off. It's in both spots here. So if I get one, I get the other. There we go. Just so they're not overlapped on each other. There's also this one here. And this one here. I'll show you what each of those are here in a minute. And the main face, yeah. You should have the ears, the head, and so we'll just keep that up for a moment. We get out of isolation mode. And let's see what this is here. Oh, is that the back of the? Oh, it is. Oh, geez. Oh, it's the two halves. I don't even care about that. I want to delete those. All right, cool. That's I was like, what the heck has so many shapes? But the ears should be a little bit of a challenge, right? And there they are. So we didn't see those earlier, but there's one ear, there's the other ear, and they're not quite symmetrical on the UVmap. That's all right. As long as we run up one edge and cut it, it should be all right. So we'll go up here and do double click, and that runs through the whole mess of the entire model. But in UVs, it's handy to show the rest of the model here, and then we can hold down Control, take away, and we can take away all the other part of that edge loop and leave just the edge to the top of the ear. So that's super useful. And then we hit Shift X, and then we grab all those faces for the ears and hit Control U and make sure it's active. Control U. There we go. That's pretty good. I could tell already that's going to work. So if we go look at the ears and turn on checkerboard, there's pretty nice. Maybe the tip of the antenna, but not too worried about that. We definitely want to model some details. That's why we don't do the eyes and the nose and the teeth and the tongue just quite yet, right? We got to have limitations on detail before you get too far. There we go. All right, so if we go back to faces, I'm going to grab all these faces here, and let's see if it'll let us delete it in the window. It did, yay! So we deleted those faces off the model. It makes it not watertight anymore, but I'm okay with that. So we'll go down here to the mandibles, and we'll try and pick the inside of the mandible if we can. For that, we're going to turn symmetry back on again, Object X, and we'll just grab the mandibles by themselves, and we'll isolate them right here. Control 1, that's what it was. Control 1's a shortcut for isolate. All right, so we'll go here to the inside. Hopefully it doesn't spiral out. If it does, we'll figure it out. So I'm going to go here to edge and turn off the checkerboard for a second. There we go. Let's get this one here. No, it looks like it's not going to be super easy. So I'll grab this middle one. Oh, it did stop. Oh, that's great. Okay, so then we can put here. Maybe do this one instead. There we go. Then take away the outside, this whole model. Let's see if there's an easy way to do this inside. It just takes us a few seconds. There we go. I think that actually did it. X-ray mode and F just to be sure that I just have one edge there. And I wonder if, yeah, it's on the rest of them. Dang, see that? So it's where it's tricky when you have stuff isolated. So I'm going to take away the rest of them in the UVW editor and take away up here as well. Make sure that by chance they're not connected in any way to the ears. That's good, they're not. Okay, so go in here, hit Shift X, make sure it's highlighted, middle mouse. Remember, Alt middle mouse always activates the window first. Go to face, grab all the faces, and Control U and unwrap. And there you go. I could tell that's generally the unwrapped shape of a mandible, basic mandible. Ah, I hit off. There we go. Double click, get the whole shell, and you can rotate these in relation to each other. Changing the rotation size is a plus minus sign. Sometimes the buttons get hit accidentally. And we'll rescale, re-rotate, and reassemble these. So I think for some of that, you got to turn symmetry off and on. That's a shortcut key I should remember. If we wanted to go down the back side of the fox's head here, I can turn symmetry back on again. And we can explore finding the right edge to the fox's head here. You can see it goes there and then up one more and then across. So we could maybe do that like that. There we go. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty good. Okay, Shift X to cut and grab these two faces here, double click, and you can see now if I go back over here, Control 1, turn off the X-ray mode, you can see what we have together. And so for the top of the neck here, you could probably get rid of the seam right there. I don't think it's necessary to have this one. Is it that whole seam right there? Not the bottom part, of course. So getting more than you need and then taking away, right? That's I preach that a lot. Okay, so these should all be sewn up. So go in here and Shift S to sew. Go to the face here and Control U again. There you go. And there's the back of the neck. So we have a UV unwrap for the back of the neck here. And I'm going to move it so it's not overlapping the, I think those are the mandibles. Go. I don't know, they look like tusks for now. Okay, and then we got to rescale everything so that everything should be approximately the same size checkerboard. So you can see the ears over here. Looks like I might have accidentally joined the ears. Ah, man, didn't mean to do that. No problem, just grab that one edge there. Shift X, cut it. Yeah, might as well fix it since mini view will have, I don't know, somewhat minor issues. There it goes. Oh yeah, it went across over to there. For the ear, maybe wanted to go up underneath here. But see, it spiraled right there. I don't want to go do that work right now. So stop hitting the Windows key. There we go. So we'll grab all the faces of the ears and hit Control U again. And since they're no longer bound together, that should get rid of that. And we look at the square, and it's nice and even. So not perfect. I'd rather have those not connected, but this is a test, right? I'm just spending 10 minutes doing this. I'm not spending 2 hours with the perfect UV unwrap by any means. But they're a little large in relation to the heads. That means the UVs are actually too small. So the finer the checkerboard, the more resolution. Think of these as pixels, right? So if I have like this, that means they're too small. The pixels, the squares are too big. So it's inverse relationship. So just remember that. It's easy to forget when you're first UV mapping and getting a good professional UV unwrap so that you can effectively paint on what you're working on. There you go. So that's the mandible for this side. So we'll move it over here. Whoops. Move it over here. And maybe rotate it down this way. And we'll take the other one. And now it's like a little bit of a puzzle building exercise. So I try and frame it that way for yourself to make it fun if you like puzzles. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of this part of the process. It's really draining. Takes a while. You know you have to do it. So yeah, put on your best head space on there. And there we go. So we want to squish all of this into 0 to 1 space. Here's 0 up to 1 vertically. And then we can also look at 0 to 1 across horizontally. And it looks like the checkers are all about the right size. They're in relation to each other. We'll look at that in more detail when we do a more professional UV unwrap, but that's good enough to do a quick test on. So I'll finish this off. I'm going to place these things so that they'll fit in here a little bit better. In particular, I'm going to take the ears, I think, and maybe put them diagonal to each other-ish. I don't know. This is where, you can spend hours UV unwrapping, and really, I think you shouldn't anymore. Although pixel space is still one of the most expensive parts of a model. 4K textures and lots of them are ridiculously expensive on your processing power, rendering power, but there we go. I think you can minimize this part in the process by being diligent on how much time you're spending on each piece of the pie. Take this one down over here, maybe this way. There we go. And now I think maybe these can go here and here. So not perfect, but good enough for a test. So I'm going to throw this away. So why spend any more extra time on it? There we go. A little closer. It's a little bit thinner there. I think there's padding, like how many pixels you want to have. It's called padding space in between each shell. So I think at least a few pixels is the golden rule. We're not anywhere close to that. I'm gonna stop myself here in a minute and say, okay, let's call this one done. So maybe this one here, maybe I can. Is that a little more, or maybe not? Maybe this one. No. Yeah, hitting my return on time invested. There we go. Okay, grab the whole thing. And it's between the 0, 1 here, 0 to 1 over there, and we'll bring it over there. And all my puzzle lovers are like, all you got to do is spin this one that direction. It's like, yeah, I know. There's reasons to have good directionality on these two, like which way they're facing, but for this one, we're skipping that. Okay, so that's good to go. We can now render it out. So we'll go to image, UV snapshot. Make sure you have it selected. I always forget. Make sure you have it selected. UV snapshot. It's going to go into your folder, images, UV, out UVs. So just make sure you know where that is. 20 by 20, 2048 by 2048 is fine. Do a JPEG or even PNG file. JPEG is going to be usually pretty small and light. 0 to 1 space, tiles. Apply and close. And we should have a UV'd version of this model. We can test it out here using the material editor again. So I can turn, or the UV checker, I should say. We can turn that on and have that showing. And let's see, there we go. And then just make sure you have the shells selected and that you have them showing in the viewport. So I think, what's this one? Is that the default? Oh, it's this one over here, I think. There we go. Turn that one off. Voila. And huh, so I get a little side-by-side shot for y'all. There we go. That is how you do a UV map rapid prototype. And I can't recommend it enough. This is a little more relaxing doing a lightweight throwaway one that you know is in between stage just to get you faster at this, because if you just spend all your time on your main one, you could blow hours on there and find errors and have to change it still, which will happen. So keep that in mind as we're going. I'll leave the shells on for you there. All right, and we'll see you on the next part, which is going to be doing material IDs and bring it into Substance Painter.